Hey, everybody.
David Moore, Gal's Morning News. If you could talk about you had two of your younger guys in Brooks and Tolbert make those plays yesterday, just about those. And over the course of the season, trying to establish a clear number two with CeeDee Lamb in there, just kind of how that's gone, and maybe you're still kind of looking in that area to see who can do that.
Yeah, I think we feel like it's a talented receiver room. Really, CeeDee and Brandon, obviously are the two guys that get the most attention. Brandon obviously missed quite a bit of time, but specifically with JT and JB, again, I think you go to both plays. Those guys a lot of times get tasked with what I'd say the dirty work, both in the run game. I wouldn't call them clear out routes because we don't have clear out routes in our offense, but ones that sometimes take the top off. They get tasked with doing that sometimes, or to do a job to try to get the other guys open, which, crazy enough, both the plays that they both scored on were kind of those deals. It just goes to show you never know where the ball's going to go, right? The ball's going to go all kinds of different places, and I thought Coop did a tremendous job on both those plays. Of extending the play and getting above the 2.3, and then the throws, really, both throws were great. JT's, he kind of threw it right to the spot, and he had the awareness to kind of, get his feet in bounds. And JB was actually even a harder throw because it was a longer throw, threw it to a perfect location with two defenders there, and I thought JB did a great job coming back and cradling the ball. So, again, it's cool. JB's first touchdown. In his hometown, family there and all that stuff, which was cool. The guys were excited about him. But again, you need to continue to watch these guys develop. They're going to develop. Now they're not working with Dak anymore. They're working with Coop. And so we're at this time of the season where you don't get to throw as many routes full speed. But those are the guys that are always out there. They're the last ones to leave because they know that they need to get the time and they need to get the throws. And so there's a work ethic about both those guys. But I think it's the selflessness that they both play with, the way they play, and just they want to play the game and they don't care what they're being asked to do. And so it was cool to see those guys. And also the excitement of CeeDee, Brandon, the sidelines when those guys got both those opportunities. So it shows you the connectedness and the brotherhood that we have on this team.
John Machota with The Athletic. These last three games with Rico Dowdle, what would you say has stood out to you the most about what he's done?
Run style. I think we see him getting stronger and better the more carries you get. I mean, that's not always the case for runners in this league. It's a very physical, very daunting task to be the guy that's getting the bulk of the carries. But he just gets stronger as the game goes. He gets better as the game goes. I think there was 2 or 3 plays in the game yesterday where their safety was kind of fitting down. We got through the front 7, the safety was fitting down, and you could kind of tell their safety was like, shit, here he comes again, because there's that punishing where he's looking to engage. He's looking to knock people around. And when Rico's shoulders are square and when he sees it, which he's running with a lot of confidence right now, he's extremely difficult to get down because he runs behind his pads. He's got incredibly strong legs. And I would say the thing that jumps out the most is how well he's handling just being the guy, but also that he doesn't lose anything as the game goes on. He gets stronger, which is a great trait.
Brian Schottenheimer of The Athletic. What are defining characteristics and traits that you find in your ideal backup quarterback?
I think it depends. I think it depends a little bit on who your starter is. Certainly, it's my experience. If you've got a young guy, a young starter, you want more of a veteran type guy. Like a guy like Coop would be great for really any room. But he's got so much knowledge and he's been around so many systems and things like that. But if you've got a veteran guy, it doesn't have to be. Sometimes you're grooming the next guy. If you've got a 10, 12-year veteran, who's the next guy that's going to come and replace this guy? So I think it depends, but can they run the offense? That's number one. Does the system have to change? Can they handle the volume? Can they handle not getting the reps during the week? Are they great communicators? I mean, that's one of the best things that Coop does is he communicates. He communicates to the huddle. He communicates at the line of scrimmage. He's as big a reason that we're running the ball so well right now with the way he's handling the checks and the things we ask him to do at the run game. But then when he comes over to the sidelines, he's great at communicating with us as a staff, the other quarterbacks, what he's seeing, and so I think it's different depending on who you have. But he certainly is a guy that there's no secret why he's been in this league for such a long time and why when he's been in there he's performed well. It's the way he prepares, the way he competes, the leadership, the calmness, if you will. Those are all traits that I would say most elite backups have that.
And with him, obviously, right now he's the starter, so he's playing. But when he is, or any quarterback is in the backup role, what are you looking for from maybe how they communicate in the locker room, how players gravitate towards them, or just anything else when they are the actual backup?
Yeah, it's a great question. They actually do a lot. They do a lot more than you would think. They do a lot for the quarterback, the starter. There's projects that they do. They do different cut-ups and they go and look for things that maybe weren't in the 4 or 5 game breakdown. They go back to early season stuff. They go back to maybe, everybody gets recycled in this business, right? So, if it's a Vic Fangio defense or whatever it is, you get recycled. So the starters, especially the veteran starters, they ask a lot of those guys. And then there is messaging. There's messaging to the locker room about, hey, here's what this guy wants, and hey, he saw it this way because the quarterback can't get to everybody. So I think you are you're basically his. You're just doing a great job sending the message of things. Because, again, we have our unit meetings, and then we break up into position meetings. And so there's things that come up that if the starter doesn't think to say, if Dak didn't say, hey, you got to do this or this, Coop makes sure, or the backup makes sure that that's being communicated to the other position groups.
Calvin Watkins, Dallas Morning News. You guys talk about offensive line continuity, but of late, the running game is going pretty good, and you've been juggling. How can you explain that?
Yeah, well, number one, I think it's a testament to, Coach Solari, Coach Chin. Yesterday it just seemed like, Chuma was rolling and he's out. And so then Chuma's got to go back in when TJ Bass goes down. And so it's been a little bit musical chairs. But the thing that I will say that's been really cool is, they haven't checked up. They haven't blinked. The communication has gotten better. I talked about that a couple weeks ago, just everybody seeing the declaration, everybody sharing information from inside out. I think that's gotten a lot better. I think Brock actually lost his voice yesterday because he was making so many calls or talking shit, one of the two. But he was definitely a little hoarse, I'd say midway through the third quarter. But I think it's just testament to the way those guys are coached, the way they work. And again, we're getting a lot of guys reps, man. And just like even Dakota Shepley goes in there late, and Wally, they go in there late. We're trying to run the ball. They know we're going to run the ball, and we were still able to do it. So we're in a good spot with that, and I think it goes back to the communication.
When you see Hoffman, as feisty as he is, do you say no, but it's like, forget it. He's got to do what he's got to do.
No, you like that. You like the way he plays. Brock's smart enough to know he rarely goes beyond that point of no return. But it's what fuels him, and it actually fuels the other guys as well. So they feed off him. I thought our play style yesterday, in terms of covering down, we call them bend backs and things like that. You can find some really cool clips of us pushing the pile. There's 1 or 2 and 4 minute where we, maybe had the back was kind of held up for a 3-yard gain, and they pushed it for a 5-6 yard gain. Tyler Smith yesterday had one of his best games of covering down and finish. Obviously, we know what a great player he is, but his play style and tenacity yesterday was different. He had a great clean the guy off a pile, and that's got a lot to do with Brock. And they follow his lead in there. He is the alpha in there.
Nick Harris, Force. Which one? There you go. Nick Harris, Force, Star Telegram. You were here in 2022 when Cooper had that stretch of games. He said yesterday that he feels like this is the best football he's played in his career. Would you agree, and why?
Yeah, I think so. Again, it's one of those things where you look at yesterday's game. A couple unbelievable throws. We already talked about the 2 to Tolbert and Jalen Brooks. Those are great. And then a couple throws he'd love to have back, a couple of the boots and things that we were running. But with what he's being asked to do and the way he's managing everything we're doing with the run checks, the protection checks, they got us on one blitz early yesterday in the third down. But for the most part, the guy's unflappable when it comes to the command of the offense. And I think that's the thing that we want from Coop. We want Coop to go out there and do whatever's necessary to win. And whether it's handing it off 40 times, then let's go do that. And if we got to go throw it more, then we feel like we can go do that. But I think he's playing with a lot of confidence. And, again, he knows the situation. He knows the situation that, hey, once we put Dak down, like, hey, I'm in this thing for the long haul. It wasn't like he's looking over his shoulder like, hey, here's the keys, go take it and run. And I think he's the type of guy that when you give him a task like that, he's going to respond.
Baker Mayfield, he's found a home, it seems like, in Tampa Bay. Just from your evaluation or your view of him and his career, how has that come together?
Yeah, again, I've just watched him from afar. I think the competitor is the first thing that jumps out at you. The way he plays the game is reminds me, a lot of undersized guy, Drew Brees, pocket passer, able to make all the throws, off-script plays. He's obviously got a ton of weapons down there in Tampa Bay, but I would never bet against that guy. He's just, he's wired the right way, and it's been kind of fun to watch him talk to some of the younger guys that maybe are struggling. You see that after games. He seems to be very willing and open to talk to guys. Might have been Bryce Young, I don't remember who. I saw him talking to one of the young guys after a game and basically just tell him, hey, I've been there. I've been there. I've had to go through it, and so that's cool. Anytime these veteran players want to give back and kind of help the young guys understand that, hey, it takes time. This is a very humbling business, which we've all experienced, and I respect a guy that handles his business like that.
Joe Hoyt, All City Dallas. Your guys' defense has been playing really well the last 4 weeks. Time's up with the return of Micah Parsons. You've gone up against a lot of good edge rushers this year. How much kind of a gravitational pull on the game plan can that have, and the attention it brings, and what kind of chain reaction can a star edge rusher do for a defense?
Yeah, you start your conversations early. It's what everything is driven by. Where's he line up? Where's he go? I think Mike and Zim and those guys do a great job of moving him around. But you spend so much time focusing on where he goes, all your declarations, all your attention goes there, that you end up leaving yourself susceptible in other spots, and I don't get a chance to see much of the defensive stuff, but it looked like Osa was unbelievable yesterday. Why is that? I don't know. I didn't see the film, but I'm sure a lot of the time and effort talking about it was going through Micah and where's Micah and what's he going to do. And, you can chip him in certain spots. There's other spots they put him that you can't chip him. And I think it just a ton of time and effort goes into the process of the game plan. But even on game day, you got to find him. And again, when you move him around, it's really difficult. Where some elite rushers, they like to be on one side. Great example, one of the best to do it, T.J. Watt. He plays on the right. And again, it doesn't make it easier to block him, but at least you know where he's going to be.
Garrett Podell, CBS Sports. Brian, it seems like you and Mike have done a great job of getting the ball to CeeDee Lamb short, long, all these different patterns. What's really been working getting him the ball these last few weeks, especially when everyone knows he's going to get it?
Yeah, I think the first thing is moving him around. Same thing we were just talking about with an elite edge rusher, right? If you put him in one spot, it's kind of easy to come up with a game plan to stop him. If you move him around and you play him in different situations, and he's in the slot, he's outside, he's by himself, he's in the backfield, they have to find him. It's hard to double people in certain areas of the formation. It's easier to double him when he's by himself on one side. It's much easier to do that, to roll your coverage. But I don't think it's just us. I think it's obviously a lot to do with CeeDee's instincts, his ability to track the ball. You guys know this. He's playing through a lot right now. He's pretty banged up, and you see him when he falls. He's gritting it out, and that's a testament to him and the way he's wired, and the fact he wants to win and he wants to lay it on the line, and just unbelievable props to him for the way he competes and the type of player he is.
Brad Sham, 105.3 The Fan. Brian, how do you account for the fumble problems Cooper's having?
Yeah, well, you look at them all, Brad, they're a little different. The QB center stuff, again, that can't happen. We had one yesterday in 4 minutes. Again, the shotgun snaps weren't always his. The biggest issue I would be on some of the the combination runs where we've got a choice whether we give it or hand it. The fundamentals need to get better. It's something we got to work on. There's a technique that you use in terms of where the ball is extended and how you have to ride it. It's very technical, but he was great. He communicated after, right after the drive, said it caught Rico's hip. It's on me. So again, we emphasize it, but obviously we're not doing a great enough job coaching it. So we got to coach it better. And I would say the starting point with that specific, which is counted for 2 or 3 of them, there's a technique that we need to clean up with not just Coop, but the backs as well, with the phasing, because there's a decision, right? Do I hand it? Do I keep it? Do I pull it? Do I pull it and throw? There's a lot of things going through his mind, and so something we'll certainly continue to emphasize and drill even more.
Tommy Arsh, DallasCowboys.com. Brian, there's a play yesterday as Jalen Tolbert's touchdown. You had 7 undrafted free agents line up for you on offense. What does that say about the mix of scouting and coaching to be able to win games, and you've got 6, 7 undrafted guys playing on offense for you?
Well, I think it just goes to show it doesn't matter. To the players, it doesn't matter where you're drafted. Just keep working, man. Just keep doing your job and asking questions and studying, and you'll get found in the process, right? Some of the best players I've ever been around have not necessarily always been free agents, but they've been late round draft picks, and I think there's something to the guys that are undrafted. Some of the guys I've been around, there's a major chip on their shoulder that fuels them, which I think is awesome. They feel like they were overlooked, and it bothers them. And so it fuels them, it feeds them, it makes them do the extra little things before and after practice. And in this league, man, you're going to have to play with guys like that. And you don't check up, you just go because you believe in those guys, you trust in them, they put the work in. And it's cool. I didn't know there was that many players on the field. It's a cool stat.
Last one from Todd.
Brian Todd for ESPN. Hoffman's one of those undrafted guys. You mentioned he's an alpha. How does a guy undrafted, hasn't played very much in his career, how does that guy become an alpha?
The way you play the game, the way you approach the game. Brock is one of the guys that is unbelievably well respected by everybody on our team, coaches, players alike. You ask the defensive guys about him. I mean, he's just an all-day sucker, man. Like, he is not going to back down from anybody. His confidence in himself is extremely high. He doesn't look at himself as a guy that's undrafted. He's been through the journey. He's been in Cleveland. He's been here. He's been cut. He's been brought back. He's now starting. So I think, it's one of those guys where it's your work ethic, number one, the way you're wired, number 2, and then in Brock's case, it's the leadership ability. I mean, this guy has, in a lot of ways, galvanized the way we play and the huddle. I mean, I think I talked about it last week or 2 weeks ago. I mean, Coop said it's never been more lively in the huddle with Brock, just because the way he's, again, communicating what's going on, communicating the personnel and stuff that's in the game. I'm sure telling some stories about what he just did to one of the defensive players. But it's just a wiring, man. And, again, God, you love guys like that, and you love to see him have success. And, he should be a fan favorite because of the way he plays and the way he energizes our entire group.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.